Good morning, everybody. Oh, oh, God, I gotta stretch. Hey, y'all know what I did this weekend that I hadn't done in over a year? Went to the gym. It felt so good to work out. Sore is an understatement. I hadn't been to the gym in over a year. And I went to the gym. I felt so good. There was the gym was like it was like ghost town in there. I was like, oh my. I've been going to the same gym for 20 years. It's the YMCA right here. There's a bunch of students that go there. I mean, a bunch. It's a rare occasion that I go in there and there's not one of my students or former students that are in there. It's super rare. Like I can expect 75% of the time there's going to be a student in there. I just know it. It's just yeah, because so many people live around here, and it's really nice. Gotcha, Kayla. Gotcha. Hey, who is Daniel Hernandez?
Oh.
Oh. You think it's Diego? Is he just calling us a Daniel?
Other Daniel. It's two Daniel. Yeah, there's three. Yeah, that's what I meant. It's the tall one that does right. Taekwondo.
Yes, Martinez.
No, I just didn't know what he did. I didn't know what he did specifically.
You don't know anything out of Brawl Stars? Look, bro,
Bro, relax. Bro, I know stuff.
And food.
Yes, sir. That's what trade school's for.
Not too low, bro. You need to get food.
What do you? I might choose electrician. That'd be cool.
Hey, Daniel. I'm assuming that maybe you're Diego. I need you to put your class name and camera on so I can verify you, or I'm going to bounce you out of class. Well, I don't know, but there'll be a teacher sending him, I'm hoping shortly. All right. Gotcha, Diego. Diego, I think you're in the wrong spot. You need to get to class, yo.
I'm not. I'm in. What's his name, Mr. Rather, because I'm in trouble.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So if you guys are here, please make sure that you look at the last bolded point. The last bolded point. Yeah, you need to put your whatever group number you're in. You need to put that next to your name. Nope, nobody did. Yeah, you may have finished it. Yeah. That's please make sure you put a number next to your name. Well, I don't know. You guys will have a chance. You didn't present, so you had time to go back and make some changes. We'll see. I'm sorry. Yep. So next to your name, so like if you were group 1 Ali, you would have to put I'm group 1, I'm Ali group 1. Randy would be, if she was group 2, she'd be Randy Rosenbaum number 2. You place your group number next to your name for breakouts. Oh, thank you, Abel. Thank you, K-Lab. You're officially an adult in the state of Texas now. In the state of Texas, at 17, you are considered an adult. Yep. Yeah, you're an adult. You don't go to juvie, yeah, you don't go to juvie if you're 17. You go to
They don't ever get an idea until you're 17 and 2 months. I read the paper. You have to be
don't let you get a what?
I think what it was-
You can get an ID when you're 14. You can get an ID.
Where do I go? I went to Google and I looked at the form. Ask someone. It was an official form.
I'm sorry?
Okay, and it had everything on it. Social security number, all that.
Then whenever were you absent? Then whenever we start, I'll put you in the right spot. I'll put you in the right spot. What's up? Oh, don't. Will you do it in here? But stop in like 30 seconds so I can get class started. Oh, never mind. Randy's embarrassed now. Randy's embarrassed now. Jeez.
Randy, I just want you to acknowledge that we tried to help you and we tried to save you. You see what happened.
Right.
It was.
Oh.
Faith. He's not bothered by the least bit. He's doing it.
Good job.
Monday morning.
It's Monday morning.
Tomorrow is Monday.
And we have 5 more Mondays.
Is that it? Oh my God, that gives me
Four
a.
more Mondays. No, we don't count today. Today's almost over.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
Okie dokie. All right, guys. Welcome to class. I need you to follow these instructions very carefully. You're going to need to go to Schoology because I need to put you, when we go to breakout rooms, I'm really going to emphasize this point first. I have it bolded here. You need to place whatever your group number was in the last class, then you need to put that next to your name. You can use an example of Caleb. Caleb put a number 1 next to his name. Abel put a number 7 next to his name. You'll have to go to Schoology for the last lesson to do this. So whatever your group number is, you need to put it in there. I'll put you guys in the same breakout rooms. Question? Okay, now I'm going to get started. And so I've already said this, when we go to breakout rooms, if you haven't done this, then you won't go to breakout rooms, okay? And there's a few other people that are just joining us. I'll repeat this in just a second. So just to make sure we go over the agenda today, I'm not going to go more than 15 minutes when we start. I'm not going to go longer than 15 minutes. I've really kind of condensed it today. Today, you're going to have guided practice. So guided practice is going to be a Frayer model. It really was kind of a Frayer model style presentation. It's kind of where you take a card, you pick your term, and then you've got 4 quadrants. You have 4 different quadrants, 4 different tasks. That's what the Frayer model is. And then I'm going to give you guys a total of 30 minutes for that. You have something to do for today, which is going to be, I'm going to teach homologous and analogous structures. If you guys complete that in time, you can go back to your previous presentation and you can get that one squared away. You'll have a full 30 minutes. And then you're going to come back and I'm choosing one person from each group to speak. You must speak. You must speak. So for that group to get that credit, that person has to speak. Then I'm going to release you for the quiz. The quiz is approximately 6 minutes. And then that's really going to conclude our lesson. So if you're just joining us, and there's a couple of you guys that are just joining us, this is going to be something that you must do. You must place your group number next to your name. If you do not know your group number, you go back to Schoology, find your group that you are in. It's on the presentation. It's on those slides, and you add that group number. And so thank you, Caleb. Thank you, Abel. Thank you, Daniel Rosales. Thank you, Keaton. Thank you, David, Daniel, and it looks like George. You guys have already done this. Patel, you have done it as well. So good job. Now I'm going to get started. So first term that we're going to, and really what I'm working on today is just like last time, we're working on those command terms on explaining, describing. Those are the two most common. And so can somebody tell me what is that term describe? What was what did that equal? To describe is what? To describe it equals what? What does describe equal? And explain essentially says what? Because when we get into those rooms, you need to remember what those are. I'm ignoring the chat box. I need people to talk. You're going to have to talk when you present. To describe is to say, that might help. Abuelito, please set a timer for 15 minutes. As soon as somebody tells me how. Ooh, shoot, I just said it. I'll wait for somebody. Start it after somebody tells me this part right here.
Why?
Why, exactly. Thank you, Johnson. It is why. You are telling why something is happening. That's an explanation. And when you describe it's how. So really focus on those power terms. You're going to need to do it today on the quiz as well. So first new term for you guys is going to be analogous structures. What are analogous structures? So an analogous structure is pretty easy to figure out. There's structures that allow for the same function, and this is an easy way to usually identify them. That doesn't always work, but it's usually it's the case that they have the same function. And I say it's if not, it's going to be very similar function. Got somebody in the waiting room. Sorry. These two are going to be homologous. These homologous. This one here is the analogous structure. So what, in this case, what is the function of all three of these? All three of these are wings, which allow for, well, maybe. Which are going to exactly flight. Thank you. These are all allow for flight. What makes them analogous is just like if you're reading in English, an analogy is something that you're using one situation to describe another situation, but they're not the same situation. They're just very similar, but they're not the same. So in this case, these have the same phenotype of wing, but they have different genes that give rise to these phenotypes. So these phenotypes, this here is an insect wing. So they're going to have what we call an exoskeleton. Their skeleton's on the outside of their body. They have no internal bones. An exoskeleton is no internal bones. So exo is outside skeleton. So that's why their body is really hard, because the skeleton's on the outside. Whereas you can see that these two have an internal skeleton. And not only that, they have the exact same bones. I say the exact same bones. They're the same bones, but they're not exactly the same because they've been modified by selection, but they're still the same genes. So these are homologous structures because they have the same origin. These have the same genes, and you get your genes from your parents. So if I were to trace this back in time, I would eventually find a common ancestor for these organisms because they have the same genes. Whereas this one, you could trace back in time and find the same origin of an ancestor, but it would be a long, it would be deep back in time. Can't even imagine where these two share, all three of these shared a common ancestor. These independently evolved. This wing evolved independently of these wings on these backs. That's an analogous structure. Homologous structures are different. They have different functions, right? So the structures are the same, principally the same, but they have different functions. They have the same evolutionary origin. So if you have the same evolutionary origin, again, we're talking about the same gene, but a different function. I can't write same there. The same gene, but you have a different function for that gene. It's kind of like venom in snakes. Their saliva, it's their saliva. Their salivary glands of snakes produce enzymes or proteins that are venomous, where we produce enzymes in our salivary glands that break down carbohydrates. Theirs break down proteins and kill things whenever they bite them. But there's literally the same gene, but a different function. One's venom, one's digestion. So in this case, this human, what do humans do with their arms? What do we do with our arms? Let's see. And I'll call on you guys. If y'all don't talk, I'll just start calling on you. Yeah, thank you, Ali. Yeah, we're gonna grab things, right? This is grab things. I'm gonna grab things, hold things, climb. There's a lot of things we do with our arm. Write, draw. There's a lot of things that we do. Use computers. There's a engineer things. It's amazing. We do a lot. But let's just say grabbing. What about a lizard? What does a lizard do with its front? These are all front legs. Lizards? Maybe. I don't know if do you see lizards grabbing and holding things?
Climbing.
Okay, yeah, they might climb with theirs, right? They might climb or crawl, right? They might be doing a little different. Some things are a little different. What about a cat?
Walking.
Walking, running, scratching. Okay, it's a little different there, but a little different. What about a whale? Swimming, just keep swimming. You could swim. What about a bat? That's right, flight. And a frog? Leaping, that's right, leaping, thank you, leaping. And then a bird would also be like the bat, would be flight. We already knew that those were homologous anyway. So these are homologous structures. Homo, what's the root word of homo mean?
Same.
Same, that's right, same. So these have the same, in this case, it's not the same function, but they have same genes. They just encounter different selection pressures, and those different selection pressures have modified those. So I want to get to these two ideas of divergence and convergence. We spent some time on convergence last time. So let's just call this gene 1. This is going to be gene 1, or individual with gene 1. Well, there's going to be different selection pressures. So let's say that there's going to be food in air, and there's going to be food in water. Well, they have the same forelimb, right? I have the same forelimb. The ones that were really getting good at maybe jumping or spending some time trying to get that food in the air, the ones that were better at it, they could actually get some lift from flapping whatever forearm they had, like some of the dinosaurs. Some of them we know were had feathers. We do think that they weren't used for flight. They were probably used for displaying, for sexual selection, like look how beautiful and awesome I am, or maybe that they were used for insulation to keep heat. That gene 1 would diverge. And so we would call them that individual that would spend some time over here. This is an individual. Let's say that this one had gene 1 and then B, just a variant of that gene. It's still gene 1, but it diverged. The other one that was spending more time in the water, and maybe the ones that were better at swimming in the water, maybe they had a slightly different shape of that forearm. The ones that did better, they would get, say, maybe that would be same gene 1C. And so these individuals, this is their ancestor, and these are their descendants. These are their descendants. These are the ones that diverged. And so these are different. Convergence is the opposite. And we looked at that last time. So let's just go ahead and put that in its own little right. Convergence, remember, is they come to the same place. So this is where you have, like, we'll call this is going to be an organism. That would be we'll call this one gene 3. And this organism has gene 6, different genes, but they're both utilizing the same resource. So in this case, they both have arrows coming because they're both, say, I don't know, they're both, there's food in, that's a little big. Let's say there's food in soil. And so they would have different genes, but same function. So these are going to be ancestors, and these are all going to still be there. Really, I won't even put two. I should put them there. These are their descendants. And so these might be gene 3A and gene 6B. I don't know, whatever. But they're both of these converge to the same point. They both arrived at the same point. They're both going for food. They had structures. Say they had, maybe one of them had, like a tortoise has a claw or a foot that's able to dig, and then a rabbit has a foot that could dig, and they kind of converge because they're both finding soil. Or maybe an insect has a modified leg that can dig. They're both getting into the same area. So with which is going to be analogous and which is going to be homologous? Is divergent or convergence homologous or analogous? So you guys take 30 seconds. I'll call on two people. Divergence, which one is going to be homologous and which one's going to be analogous? I'll believe you. How much time do I have? Perfect. So let's go to our beautiful friends. We have friends here. Let's go to Mosadi. I hadn't heard Mosadi, which is homologous and which is analogous?
I think convergence is analogous and divergence is homologous.
Yeah, so I was gonna go for two people and I never did. I went to one, but I guess getting one is the other. All right, that's just totally it. This is homologous. Homologous. You have the same original gene, but they have different functions now. Here you have two different genes, but they have the same function. They're the complete opposite of each other. So which one do you think is better evidence of evolution? Let's ask another person. Which one is better evidence for evolution? Let's go for something that we haven't heard from Randy in a while. Randy, which do you think is better evidence for evolution? Homologous structures or analogous structures? I think so too. Why do you think so? Yeah, so her answer was the genes. It's really hard to trace back and show any kind of tracing, I guess, to show ancestry. Whereas here, I can trace backwards. I can literally look and see common ancestors. So these don't have common ancestors in convergence. There's no common ancestry here. They're different ancestors. Here you have the same ancestor and you can trace that genetic code backwards. All you got to do is just literally go back and see which ones have the most similar DNA and trace backwards. It's easy to do that. With homologous structures, they actually show this. All right, so this is kind of a comparison. Let's see, I've got an analogous leg, homologous mammals. So this would be a leg, again, same function. These are same function. I'm going down this row here. Analogous legs, cat, praying mantis, different genes, same function. Analogous flippers. This is an insect leg, a boatman water beetle. Analogous flippers, right? But homologous, these have these same genes, this bone, and this bone, this bone, this bone. Even this one even has a patella. I think the patella was lost here. That's your kneecap. But you have the carpals, metacarpals, phalanges. You've got all these same structures, which means they're going to have the same genes because genes code for these structures. These are homologous. They have different functions, right? A cat walks, a whale swims. Insect is going to here, they have the same genes, but different functions. This one's walking, this one's swimming. These are homologous insects, these are homologous mammals, these are analogous. These show ancestry, so you can trace ancestry here. And you can see if they have common ancestors here. These, while they do have a common ancestor, it's just further back. It's you can't trace ancestry through the function. And people used to do this. This was something that people used to do. It would be like saying that, I don't know, like a mayfly, which is an insect, and a bird are more closely related than a bird and an emu. Or like a cardinal and an emu. An emu is a walking bird, but because an insect flies, they're more closely related. People at this time, back in history, kind of considered that, which was a little crazy. We now know a lot better. All right, so I'm going to go to Schoology. Did I have any time left over? Oh, good. I'm glad I was a little ahead of time. So I'm going to move. We're going to go back to Schoology. You guys meet me over there. All right, let's get there. All right, you should be putting, if you haven't done so yet, you need to put your group number. So let's see, that's asynchronous. This is where we are here. I'm going to go to your last group that you guys were in. And last time we did convergence and coevolution. Please use this, find your group number. You can find your group number on this document, what group you were in last time. So these persons, if you were in group 1, for instance, you would have Brianna would have Brianna Landry 1, Johnson 1, Caleb Williams 1, Diego 1. Find what group you're in, put that next to your name, and then I'm going to put you in breakout rooms. Now, when you go to these breakout rooms, you're not going to be doing that today. You can after you finish something else first. And again, we're working on these power terms. What do we want to work on these power terms? You can see, I'll open the quiz at the end of class. Today, we're going to be doing a guided practice for analogous and homologous structures. It's the same thing that we did last time. You're going to find an example. There are 8 groups here. You'll go here first. You'll go in here first, and you'll handle these command terms that I have you for this. You'll have only 30 minutes to do so. Do you have any questions before I put you in breakout rooms? All right, and next to your name, I'm going to look. Looks like most of you guys have that. If you were absent last class, don't worry about it. I'll put you in a room. All right. If you were in an absent last class, I'll put you in a room. So I'm about to put you in breakout rooms. Get ready. Some of you guys are going to get started. Some of you guys have already done it. Some of you guys haven't. So I'll put you in breakout rooms as I see you. So let's see, this is group 1. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see, this is group 2. Down. Turn. 3, 3.
Wait, no. 3 inches.
Okay, this is 4. Man, Daniel, was only one person in your group. There's 5. 6.
So
7, 8. Yep, all right. Rooms are open. I'll start assigning other people to those rooms in just a second. Let's see. 2. All right, let's put you in group 2. So, Ali, you were absent. So, all right, Brianna, Chastity, and Santos, were y'all absent last class?
No, I was in group 5.
You were what?
I was in group 5.
Okay. Chastity, Brianna, were you absent last class?
No, I was in group 4.
Group 4, Brianna? Brianna, are you there?
I was with Monas and Carlos.
Monas and Carlos. Well, let me see. Carlos is group 6. So you're in group 6. There you go. Randy, are you by yourself? Who else was in your group last class? And so Jonathan, Mosadi's here. He left, so you're all by yourself? Sad days. I bet he comes back in a second. Let's see if anybody's in the waiting room. Oh my God. So this is sad days. I bet they'll show up in a second. If they don't, man, oh man. If they don't show up in 4 minutes, we'll drop you into another group. Do the best you can for the meantime. Man, that's crazy. Wonder where they are. Analogous. It's an analogous. Hey, Kayla. I think you're in group 2, right? There you go. Yeah, I think you're in group 2. You should be able to join. There you go. You can't handle the truth. Randy, you want to stay by yourself or you want to jump to another group? Are you really? And now org structures are in organs. You can. Analogous organs and structures, same thing. So analogous. Okay. It'll all come out in the wash when you guys take the quiz. Like if they don't do this, the quiz is gonna murder. It's all open answer.
No. Okay, guys, look, we're not doing birds and bats. That's too obvious. That's too easy, bro. We're not doing it. Diego's freaking changing everything.
Y'all need to talk.
You know what, Diego? Since you want to do it, you're gonna present.
Nope, I choose who presents.
Since he knows what he's doing, apparently. He's changing all the answers.
Well, somebody needs to worry about your example where it says analogous bats and birds. That would not be analogous.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That would be homologous.
Diego, bro, Diego. Bats and birds is homologous, it's not analogous. Yeah. It's, you can't do that. You gotta change it. Dude, we're doing birds and insects.
Yeah, there. Some people could argue that it's analogous because they're reptiles and bats. I mean, excuse me, birds and mammals. But there's this is still a little close. All right, there's Monas. I'm gonna drop him in group 6. Get ready. You're group 6, right, Randy? You're group 3? Okay, but Monas was yours. All right, I'm gonna drop him in there anyway. Let him look over it, make sure he's on the same, you agree with everything. And then go back and check your other example, make sure you get full point. What's that? The female sibling.
Yeah, you have the one that she's going to say,
Okay, that's good. You got an example.
Well, my mom has. That's what she's.
This was like this is for you. You're also using. Did you guys see the examples I put for conversion or evolution under that? So whenever you can, these were in class 2 years ago.
No, I want the one with bats. They keep showing me bats, but I'm not looking for bats. That's homologous.
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 That's all right. You're learning it. That's why you go to school. It's cool.
Every single one that I look at wings has the bat. It's so amazing. Okay, here we go. Can I use this even though it's from another PowerPoint? Is this the only one I can find?
You can use it. Whatever you find. It's up to you what you want to use. It's nice to see people kind of branch out.
That has a bat on it. Wow. Box. Oh, shoot. You scared me. Oh, my God. was like, bro, what? Look at Scott. Are these freshmen? These gotta be freshmen.
Those were juniors.
You were in there. I don't know what you're talking about. My memory is way better than this. They spelled finer with 2 N's. And
Talk to them. You turn around and say, talk to these people.
I guess it's open bosses.
Proboscis.
Proboscis.
Yeah, did they spell it correctly on that one?
No, it says proboscis.
Yeah, I think I messed it up the other day too. I was like, what am I doing?
Why don't we just call it a mouth? It's a mouth.
But it's not really, right? I mean, I guess it is, but I mean, like, what is your mouth actually called?
The scientific word for mouth?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Google oral cavity.
Oral cavity.
Oral
Exactly.
cavity.
Oral cavity. Exactly. Oral cavity. So a proboscis is different than our oral cavities. They have the same function, but different evolutionary organ. They're analogous structures. Somebody should have used proboscis and oral cavity as their analogous structure. That would have been awesome. That would have been a great one. Let's see, Jacob is, there's Brianna. Brianna, which group again? Brianna, you don't have a number next to your group, so I don't know where to put you. Brianna, you didn't put a number next to your name, so I don't know where to put you. Well, then type it. Where do you want me to put you? Carlito.
No, not the pseudo structures. That's not what the question's asking.
Yeah, here's not here either.
I already did something. They're just seeing the fun. David's probably doing it. No, he doesn't type anything. I think it sounds like David.
15 minutes. Claudia. It's Claudia.
No, we need the selection pressure.
Unmute yourself.
Oh,
Yeah, but you can't read your mind.
I didn't want to say it, just scared.
I am, bro. I am, bro. Good, bro. You be aggressive.
Let's start.
Explain why this is not evidence for evolution. Why is it not evolution? Answer. That's the answer? Is that the answer, Mr. Cole?
I wasn't listening. I was talking to somebody. What?
To explain why it's not evidence for evolution, the answer would be because for analogous.
Which one? For analogous? Yeah.
Because it will be harder to find the ancestry, right?
It's about the DNA, the
The
genes.
genes, yeah, like genes are, it's two different.
You need to talk to your groups, talk to your groups, talk to your groups. They all have the same information. You got the old PowerPoint that you can go back and look at. You can also, why isn't analogous structures, why aren't analogous structures evidence for evolution? You can read about it. I'm gonna cut time. Looks like it's 6 out of the 8 of you guys are finished. So and some of the groups have already, I've looked on the other document. Some of the groups have already jumped on the other document. You are seeing my messages come through, yes? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. 5 groups are working on the other document to make sure that. Randy, you're by yourself again? What happened to Monis? Did he say why he was leaving? I think he's in Florida. I don't think he can, I bet his internet sucks. What did he say when y'all were in the room together? Really? Is it, oh man, y'all gotta talk. Y'all make me sad.
It's the same thing. Oh.
Yeah, whale flipper, you mean? Okay.
Real hard.
I mean, it's homologous. All right.
I'm stupid. Oh, she did answer the question right. Oh, wow. That's a cool bit. Type. Probably like, I'm not even gonna hold this. Right? You're probably gonna- That English ceremony was busted. Oh, man. If it wasn't for the art style or the drawing, the movie's actually good though. It's mid. The thing that's there over
And let it go. Uh-huh. Let it be.
I think that's the lungs.
Let it go.
The brachio. Yeah. That's what happens. When a mammal gives birth, they're. I literally just said what it was. It's an injury. This isn't a thing of life. This is an injury. But it says during pregnancy. Exactly. So when they give birth, during pregnancy, when they give birth, it's like you know it, and you just simply get pulled by one arm to.
What? What?
Hold on.
Leave it on the table. I'll pick it up later. You stick it under your stuff or whatever.
Did you know that when ducks mate, they kill their mates
Sometimes.
on accident?
Sometimes.
You know that? Yo, did you know that ducks were actually very violent animals? Did you know that? Bro, go get a duck. Man, I have a rabbit. I get a duck when they were Bill. It ain't because Duck Bill.
Monis is back to you.
I'm so smart. Like, I'm the most intelligent person in this room right now. Like, dude, you know who could do water.
As long as you're back in here in
Can I answer?
2 minutes.
I'm answering. I did that. I remember it. 8174. Let me Google this number.
Yeah, I'd be more worried about what you've got to do there.
We're finished. I think, yeah.
You check the other one?
Like the other side, the convolution?
Yeah.
Yeah, I redid that one.
Okay.
Is this a both?
Mm-hmm.
Because I know I'm the one that's gonna have to speak. I know Diego's not gonna do it. He's very socially active. I don't know what to say. You want to hear Javier in the background, man? Is he a rapper? Yeah. Remember that music video he made 3 before? Yeah. He owns like a studio or something. Oh, did he rent it? Probably paid $400.
All right.
He was the producer for the beat where I know the beat.
Can you guys see the presentation when you tell me when you come out of the room, whether you can see the presentation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, come on. That's like the exact same, with different colors. Everybody uses blue.
Quarters, minus, Seagrees get bounced down over and over and over. Okay, doke, guys, we are back. We're going to start with group one they have coevolution. And we've got to get through this all in 20 minutes. Actually, no, I take that back. We really need to get through this in 15 minutes so I can open up the quiz for you guys. So what I'll do is I'm not going to look at the slide. I'm going to listen for you to answer the prompts. I'm not going to look at it. So I'm grading by listening. I'm going to be writing at the same time. So in this case, let's let Johnson, I'm going to let you present for your group. On this particular slide, somebody else will go whenever we get to the next slide. So please go ahead and take your example.
Present.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so for our selection, we chose to talk about ants and a plant which is called acacia. I think I'm pronouncing it wrong.
It's acacia.
Oh, acacia. So the acacia ants provide protection for the acacia plant, while the plant provides ants with shelter and nutrients for the ants while growing larvae. Larvae? Oh my god, I can't talk today. For the pressure, two organisms cause the plant to develop the trait to evolve over time to grow swollen thorns in order to house and feed the ants specifically. The ants could defend the plant, which produces their food from other herbivores. As for the trait, the ants help the, how you say it again, Mr. Folk?
Acacia.
Acacia plant compete against other plants for nutrients, sunlight, while the plant helps give shelter for the ant, increasing both of their fitness.
Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna say anything about how you guys are scoring. That's because that's between you guys. But I'm listening. Okay. No feedback whenever I'm doing this. So you guys, thank you. Let's go to the next one. On this one, let's go for Sarah.
Okay, so for our group, we did the monarch butterfly and the plants like the milkweeds. So we said that the monarch butterfly would have the pressure of finding food, which is nectar, and the plants like milkweeds would have the pressure of reproducing. And then the selection pressures that are acting on this trait is that the monarch's proboscis, if I'm saying that right, would have to become proboscis.
Proboscis.
Proboscis, okay. Would have to become longer in order to get the nectar due to the plant developing a longer nectar tube. And then the proboscis of the butterfly compensates for the plant by having a long proboscis, while the plant releases pollen onto the butterfly in order to reproduce with other plants.
Okay. Let's see. It's just you. I'm sorry, Randy. All right, you're by your lonesome. Go for it. Can people hear you? Okay, here, I'll mute myself.
Do I need to start over?
Yeah, I don't think anybody heard
Oh, we did birds, monarch butterflies, and mimic butterflies. The birds have to spot the difference between the real monarch and the mimic butterfly because monarch butterflies are poisonous to the birds. And if they don't spot the difference between the butterflies and they eat the monarch, it will kill them. So they evolved to better spot the differences between the two. The monarch butterfly has to evolve to not resemble the mimic butterfly, so it's not mistaken for the mimic butterfly. And the mimic butterfly evolves to resemble the monarch butterfly so that the birds don't eat it. That's it.
What about now? All right, there we go. Okie doke. Let's go for Chastity.
Okay, so we just the yucca moth and the yucca plant, and they have coevolution because the yucca plant provides shelter to the yucca moth, and then the yucca moth helps to receive pollen from the moth that's able to allow them to reproduce. Um, Identify how the selection pressures are acting on the trait. It's because the yucca moth relies on the yucca plant, and it also just as uses the yucca moth as the plant for shelter. And a description of how the traits increase the fitness of the organism. The organism can benefit from the plant by laying eggs within the plant and have to carry pollen to reproduce more of the yucca plant and just shelter again.
Okie doke. This is, let's go for Diana. Yeah, let's go Diana this time.
Okay, so we had convergent evolution, and for our example, we picked a flying squirrel and sugar glider. So both of these animals, they need to be able to hunt for food in the treetops, so that's and stay out of reach of predators. So that's why they need to glide. So the selection pressure on these mammals has favored the development of the thin piece of skin that stretches to their arms and legs so that they can glide. And with that ability, they're more easily easily able to access food and find refuge in the treetops, which increases like their fitness.
All right. Let's see. Carlito, we'll let you go.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hey.
Okay, cool. So for last example, we used echolocation, and it just helped them, both bats and whales, help them find food. As for the selection pressure, it was just a way around, as they use sound waves and echoes to help them find the way around, as I said. And for the picture, it's an example of both bats and whales. And for the description of how the trait increases the fitness of the organism, for both bats and whales, it's just help them find a way around. And as they're limited with access of sunlight while they're underwater, and it just makes them difficult to travel. As for the echolocation, it just helps them find food as well as their way around.
Okay. Let's go to Abuelito. Everybody likes to hear Abuelito.
Y'all hear me? Okay. We did a convergent evolution, and to identify the selection of pressure, dolphins have evolved from land mammals and now have traits to help them adapt in the water. And to identify how the selection pressure is acting on the trait, it says since the ocean makes it hard to locate things like food, they instead use ultrasonic waves to locate their food. The description of how traits increases the the fitness of the organism. It says dolphin helps reproduce in an environment which alleles then start to increase the fitness of the organism. So like the picture shows the fish, the reptile, and the mammal, which is a shark. I don't know how to pronounce that name.
Hello, hello. Let's go to, I haven't heard Miriam in a while. Let's hear Miriam.
Hello.
Hello, Miriam.
Okay. My group was assigned convergent evolution, and what we were able to identify from the selection pressures was specifically because in our examples that were mostly like aquatic animals, like the dolphin and puffin, is because of the aquatic habitat that they live in. And they adapted to these selection pressures because of the food that they need in order to survive and the environment that they live in. And this kind of traits that they have, which is streamlined bodies shaped for underwater life, increases the fitness of the organism because they're able to move easily and be able to catch their food. Unlike if they had, for example, like a boxier shape or even like just not the shape that they were built for in their environment, they wouldn't be able to catch their food. Therefore, they die out faster and not be able to survive in their environment.
Okay. All right. I am going to give you guys some feedback before I let you present the next ones. So I'm going to use you guys this last one as an example, and then I'll go to one above it. So I would have scored you guys a point for the picture. Got it. You identify the selection pressure. Organisms evolved to have a physical form that they do because of the advantage of mostly being in aquatic habitat. Yeah, I might would have said the movement, the selection pressure of being able to move easily in the water. It's a little wonky, but I'd take it. It says identify how the selection pressure is acting on the trait. All four have adapted in the water for food and survival. I would say it's acting on the trait for being fast. I think that's probably what I would have gone with. For being or maybe even use the word hydrodynamic. The selection pressure is adapted for water and food. Still, I think it would give you this point. I would not give you guys points for this. This is having a body shape for, and I'm talking about the description of how the trait increases the fitness. If you have a hydrodynamic shape for being underwater, you're able to get food. If you're able to get or move quickly, if you're able to move quickly, you're able to get food. If you're able to get food, you're able to reproduce. If you're able to reproduce, you're able to increase your fitness. I would have wanted to hear you say something about reproduction, increase likelihood of survival, so you have an increased likelihood of reproducing. That in order to get those points, you really need to talk about reproduction, increased survivorship for increased reproduction. So let's go to this one. Dolphins have identified land animals and have the traits for adapting water. The selection pressure would be, this would be the same thing, hydrodynamic, being able to move quickly in the water. How the selection pressure is acting on the trait. Here you're talking about echolocation, where here and sharks and ichthyosaurs are not using echolocation. So no point for this one, because that's not the trait that you're talking about. Here you're talking about a trait of being able to have a streamlined body or a hydrodynamic body, and you're talking about something else. This does talk about reproduction, however, so that's important. But I would want to know what the trait is. What's the trait? There's no identification of what that trait is. So if you're if you're hydrodynamic or you're slender, you can move fast, you're able to avoid being eaten and catch prey, and therefore have increased survivorship to be able to reproduce yourself. So there are some things on here that most of you guys scored. One group scored 100 points. One group, most of you guys scored 75. Some of you guys scored 50. I want you to pay attention to what these mean. Just writing something is not going to score you guys a point. In a moment, I'm going to release you guys. I'll let you guys think about that, and then you can change something on your presentation if you want. And I won't let you guys present for the next one. I'm just going to read it. So you can make some changes to your last presentation if you like. But know that I'm being very literal in what was asking you. If it's asking you to identify the selection pressure, then the selection pressure in this example is for the ant to have food and shelter. The selection pressure on the plant is to be able to have protection. That's the selection pressure. I do have to open the quiz. Please pay attention to these terms. And the verbs that the command terms that you must use, it's going to be important. I'm going to go, come on, you silly thing. Okay. The quiz will be open in about 1 minute. I've got to get to it and unlock it. Oh, come on, silly thing. Internet's lagging just a little bit. It is published. You should be able to see it now. It is published. That's it right there. Manas, to answer your question, yes. Did you hear me, Manas? Okay, gotcha. Pay attention to how many marks are available. Hello, guys. I see that there's a lot of you guys that the second question is popping up with the calculator. I'm gonna reset all your quizzes. Don't worry about it. I'll reset the quiz for this class. I don't know why it's doing that, but I'll find out what the problem is. So don't worry about it. Just, I'll reset it. I'll reset it for everybody. All right. I have not cleaned that desk. I gotta clean it. Well, how's it feel? After the survey. Yeah. I don't know if you guys heard me, but I'm going to reset the quiz because of the calculator malfunctions. You guys did hear this? Deuces. So no, you'll have to go back and take it later.